ruin their reputation. So let's...
Because Joe Rogan has officially blasted Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, welcome to the club, for suing sweet Justin Baldoni. He says they effed up. He mentioned this on his podcast on Saturday.
The best part of
Joe and Brandon for bringing this out. It's nice to see them out there doing it for the boys. Yeah, well, doing it for all of it, I would say. Doing it for all of us. Because, again, abuse shows no gender, as we learned with Johnny Depp. Women can be bad. Men can be bad. Yeah, we should listen to everybody. If they got a complaint, if you're going to come forward and make this complaint, you want to assume they're not lying and making stuff up. But sometimes they're over-exaggerating and such, as I think is happening in this situation. So,
while some may brush off Rogan's remarks as mere gossip, there's no denying that Hollywood is, above all, a business. A celebrity's brand.
she's losing lots of followers. And since this feud happened, so